Well, it's Monday of Christmas week. I'm glad you could join us today on Northern Arizona Scene. Hi, I'm Rich Howe. Welcome to today's program. You know, 50 years ago this month, an organization by the name of the Civil Air Patrol was founded. It's founded back in New York. It's spread nationwide, and they do a great service in terms of search and rescue and other activities, which we're going to find out about today on the show, because as our guest we have David Snell, who is a student at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University here in Prescott. He's also the communications officer for the local area Civil Air Patrol. And to his left is Marshal Grayson, who's the admin officer, a retired Mountain Bell employee, and a member of the Civil Air Patrol. Gentlemen, welcome to Northern Arizona Scene, and thank you for coming and helping us to know more about this great organization in its 50th year of existence. I guess probably the best place to start would be at the beginning, 50 years ago. Why the need for a Civil Air Patrol?
Well, it was just before Pearl Harbor, and President Roosevelt had appointed LaGuardia at that time as mayor to be head of the Civil Defense Organization and to start it. And on December the 1st of 1941, Congress, after LaGuardia had gotten the organization put together, passed a resolution creating the Civil Air Patrol as a civilian auxiliary of the then United States Air Corps. And then later on...
Which was a branch of the Army?
Which was a branch of the Army at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And then later in May of 1948, when the United States Air Force was created, then the Civil Air Patrol Auxiliary moved over along with those actions by Congress and remained as a civilian auxiliary to the Air Force. In the early days, at the time of the war, as a part of their duties in the Civil Air Patrol, they patrolled the coastal lines and the international border between the United States and Mexico. The patrols were set up for, infiltration across the borders and for submarine sightings along the coastal waterways. And it performed those duties pretty much through the war years. And then also during that period of time, they did a lot of patrolling of forests, looking for forest fires, because as you may recall or may not recall or know, that at one time it was the Japanese civilians used to set balloons up in the air and in hopes that they would come over with incendiary devices attached, and that they would land in the Pacific forest lands. So the Civil Air Patrol did those sort of duties and everything. Since then, the mission or the objectives have been changed to be what we call search and rescue, or activities in natural disasters, in floods and things of that nature. We utilize the aircraft to transport medical supplies and food, and overlook or survey the areas that where the flood or the earthquake may have occurred, to see what kind of action can be taken from the ground.
So now the Civil Air Patrol is a branch of the United States Air Force. It's an auxiliary unit, but every person who is a member, whether they're cadet or officer, is a volunteer.
That's correct. Correct.
No paid staff.
No paid staff.
That's tremendous. And this is a nationwide organization. Approximately how many men and women do you think are involved in the Civil Air Patrol now?
There are over 58,000 members in the United States, and over 22,000 of those are cadets, and 35,000 are seniors or adult members. And we have about 1,800 units in the United States. And at the present time, the Civil Air Patrol owns 530 aircraft that we utilize in search and rescue, and we have over 7,730 member-owned aircraft that are on a voluntary basis utilized in in search and rescue or in disaster.
How long, Marshall, have you been a volunteer with CAP?
I joined the CAP in April of 1973.
So nearly 20 years.
2 more years.
Yes. How about you, David? The younger member of the CAP. You're still a student, by the way, at Embry-Riddle, majoring in
aerospace engineering.
Graduating in
April.
Oh, that's coming right up. Getting excited.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to it.
So you'll be leaving the Prescott area.
I'm looking for jobs, and so far I haven't found any, but it will most likely be outside the Prescott area.
Do you think that your affiliation with the Civil Air Patrol at a relatively young age will help you in finding a job in the area you're looking for?
Well, Civil Air Patrol's helped me get quite a few contacts in the aerospace industry, and that will probably help me if I can get a job through contacts. And in terms of what I've learned through Civil Air Patrol in leadership in the cadet program, I think that that will also help me. And Civil Air Patrol has taught me things that will not only help me in my career in CAP, but I believe it'll also help me in my career as an engineer.
The Civil Air Patrol is celebrating its 50th anniversary in our country, and some local ties with Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia establishing the program 6 days before Pearl Harbor's attack. Of course, LaGuardia, former resident of our community here in Prescott. We'll be back to talk about some of the specific things that the Civil Air Patrol is doing here in northern Arizona when we return on today's Northern Arizona Scene, so stick around.
Ben Franklin Crafts is better, with a better selection, better everyday values, more ideas, more fun. And right now, here's Ben's best.
Free flower arranging. Browse through our garden. Pick your favorite flowers. A great container. Buy it all at Ben Franklin. We'll arrange it for free. It's perfect because you picked it out and our professionals put it together.
We build confidence in crafts because Ben's better. Come in today.
Sign. Hudson's Big A Sign, Camp Verde. Hudson specializes in parts and service. There's a machine shop, towing service, excellent mechanics, and Hudson's proudly stocks Paul's Mastercraft tires. Hudson, a sign of service. Big A, a sign that keeps your car running right.
The all-new AM 1130 KWDS, a friend you can turn to. Wake up to the Sunrise Show with music, news, weather, and lots of fun. Don't forget to set your alarm clocks to 11:30 a.m. and wake up to the Sunrise Show from a friend you can turn to. The all-new AM 1130 KWDS.
Go tell people, tell everyone you meet. Go tell the people, take it to the city street.
Here's a special holiday treat, the Aloha Bowl Christmas Parade from Honolulu, Hawaii. Gather the entire family for this unique parade in beautiful Waikiki. Enjoy the pageantry of marching bands from around the nation. See giant inflatable balloons. Celebrate the warmth and magic of Christmas in Hawaii. And of course, greet Santa Claus and his reindeer along with many other special guests. Spend your Christmas in paradise by watching the 1991 Jeep Eagle Aloha Bowl Christmas Parade.
Everything you always wanted to know about the Civil Air Patrol in this, their 50th anniversary year. David Snell and Marshall Grayson are our guests and representatives from the CAP here in Prescott. Let's talk locally now. Out at Love Field, there is at least one airplane that the CAP owns?
Yes, we have a 172.
Cessna?
Cessna 172. And it's available for use within the squadron for proficiency flights, preparatory to participating in actual air searches, and we also carry on cadet flights. Training with the airplane.
And there are some, you mentioned private airplanes too, throughout the nationwide system. Are there some of those here in Prescott?
To my knowledge, or if memory serves me correct, we have 6 that are available to us as privately owned aircraft.
David, just recently there have been several search and rescue operations that the CAP has been involved in the skies over northern Arizona. Maybe we could share some of them to give us some vivid examples of what your organization does on a daily basis.
Well, this year's had quite a few. Last spring, if you'll recall, the flight where the firefighter from Phoenix was taking the 3 teens with him to go skiing, and they crashed. And the Civil Air Patrol searched for that crash for 14 days. And there have been several others this year. There was a search a couple of weeks ago near Bullhead City for a downed aircraft, which, as far as we know, has not been located yet. And so we do quite a bit of searching in northern Arizona. We are directed by Scott Air Force Base, which is the Air Force Rescue Coordination Center. And the Civil Air Patrol flies approximately 80% of all air searches that are directed by the U.S. Air Force.
Had a flight, one of those tourist airlines out of Las Vegas down last week, just outside of Kingman. And you were just telling me during the commercial break just yesterday, a flight from El Paso, from Tucson to El Paso went down, and CAP was on that as well?
Yes, they participated in that search. That aircraft was found late last evening by the Civil Air Patrol folks in New Mexico, about 10 miles off the end of the runway that he was approaching to.
Is it more of a problem here in the Southwest region, with so much open space, so much mountain and desert? When you go out on a search and rescue mission, you're covering a lot of wide open territory.
Actually, wide open territory is sometimes more desirable in search because you can see the downed aircraft if it is in an open area. If you have a lot of foliage on the ground, it makes it more difficult. It isn't as easy if you have rocky terrain like we have in a lot of the desert areas around Arizona. If it's a flat area, it makes it a lot easier to find. But in the mountains and in the forest, it is more difficult.
Marshal, obviously you're using aircraft for surveillance and for searching. What about the ground aspect of it once a plane has been spotted?
Well, some squadrons and some wings have ground crews. Civil Air Patrol made up of cadet and adults. But our squadron does not. We've never been able to recruit sufficient number of people who had rescue and training in the ground, and most of that is performed by the fire departments within a local area, or the sheriff personnel goes in.
Search and rescue posses, horseback if needed.
They do the ground,
Jeep.
a lot of the groundwork.
So you work in conjunction with other agencies here in this area.
Colorado, for instance, the Colorado Wing is well equipped for ground crews. They go in snow. They're trained for the winter. They can sleep out at nights in the winter, and they have two, to my knowledge, 2 good units in Colorado, and they utilize them probably more than we do. So.
Marshal, you've been with this agency now for almost 18 years. What keeps you in it? What motivates you to be involved in the Civil Air Patrol?
Well, I tie it to 2 things. I like to fly, and I'd like to be of some help to my community. And those 2 things I can utilize by being a member of the Civil Air Patrol.
Do you have to be a pilot to be a member of the CAP?
No. In fact, one thing that a lot of people don't understand is that the majority of people in the unit in Prescott are pilots, but a lot of the members that we have are not pilots. In an actual search and rescue operation or disaster relief, a good number of the people that will be doing the functions required for us to successfully complete that mission are on the ground. We need people who are in the administrative part of it, or communications, operations, weather. We need all sorts of people with different experiences. So if we had only pilots, we wouldn't be able to complete our mission because all the work that needs to be done on the ground wouldn't be getting done.
So it's a multifaceted operation that requires a lot of talents from a lot of different people.
It's probably one of the best examples of teamwork that you can point to and say teamwork does work. And in that regard, You just don't really fly all the time because there are a lot of programs of leadership that are sponsored by the Air Force that they put on. And if you're going to progress in it, you have to go through a plan, schedule of leadership training and to foster this teamwork effort. And the Air Force backs us up on that to a great degree.
When we come back, I want to talk about specifically the cadet program and how you, watching today's program, might be interested in getting involved with the Civil Air Patrol at the entry level. And we will do that when we return on today's Northern Arizona Scene right after this short break.
Since 1974, Sites Office Products has contributed to and participated in the growth and prosperity of Northern Arizona. As an introduction to the opening of the new store in Bullhead City, Sites offers these values in Savin products.
Savin's 9180 can handle a volume of 15,000 copies per month. The Savin 9180 has automatic duplexing, recycling document feeder, sorter, color, enlarges, reduces, and includes a stand. On sale now at Sites for just $4,865. That's a $2,200 discount off retail. Or choose a Savin 7120 smaller copier for just $1,595, a savings of $550. Lease plans are available.
When you need quality office products like Savin, call or come in to our newest location, 2070 Highway 95, Bullhead City. These prices are available at Sites Office Products in Lake Havasu City and Prescott.
Hi, I'm Greg Louganis. If you're a teenager and are active in a sport, spend a month this summer overseas with Sport for Understanding. As with all Youth for Understanding programs, you'll live with the family and learn firsthand about your host country. And you'll also be a part of a team working daily on your sport. SFU now offers over 20 sports, including diving. Sport for Understanding. It's for you. Call 1-800-424-3691.
Christmas Cartoon Classics, a one-hour special to delight the entire family, featuring 6 of the most popular classic cartoons. You'll sing along to Jingle Bells and Snow Cooler. You'll enjoy the all-time classic Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Santa's Surprise, Hector's Hectic Life, Christmas Comes Once a Year, and Jack Frost. 1 hour of classic animation to delight everyone. Watch Christmas Cartoon Classics and really experience the true feeling of Christmas.
The Civil Air Patrol, an auxiliary wing of the United States Air Force, celebrating its 50th anniversary this month, December 1st, 1940, just 6 days before the attack at Pearl Harbor. David, you entered the program as a cadet. Marshall, you entered as a senior, so we'll talk a little bit about the 2 ways that you can get involved in the Civil Air Patrol. Let's start with the cadet program.
We have a cadet program which was created when Civil Air Patrol was formed. And the cadet program is designed to teach cadets aerospace education, plus give them a background in leadership. And the cadet program will basically teach them the basics that they would learn in the military. However, there is no military obligation for people interested in the cadet program.
So from that standpoint, it's different than, say, an ROTC program at a high school or college campus.
It's true. We do have the ability to enlist in the military after being a cadet and get an advanced standing and rank. And there may also be some opportunities there for a cadet to work toward getting into, say, one of the service academies or going into ROTC. That may help if they've had Civil Air Patrol experience as a cadet.
Are there opportunities in Northern Arizona to get involved in the cadet program?
We have different squadrons around the state, and we have, as far as I know, squadron in Flagstaff, Prescott. We have one in Sedona and Lake Havasu City. So there are quite a few squadrons, as well as several squadrons throughout the Phoenix area.
And the age range?
The cadets usually range in age from 13 to 18 years old. If a teenager is not yet a teenager, if they're only 12 years old but they have completed the 6th grade, they can join the Civil Air Patrol cadet program. but most students don't join until they're 13 years old.
Now, Marcia, you entered as in the senior program. Let's talk a little bit about how
Well,
that
a
happened.
senior or an adult just has to have a desire to join and volunteer his time. You can come in as a pilot or a non-pilot. Now, most of the pilots kind of train and lead towards flying on missions as pilots. But the non-pilots can train to become observers and scanners in the program. And every aircraft that goes up, we try to have at least one pilot and 2 observers on board to assist in the search and rescue process. So you do not necessarily have to be a pilot to join. And as Dave pointed out earlier, 90% of the work is performed in administrative functions, personnel functions, safety officers, and things of that nature. And if you've got a desire to continue on with kind of a military atmosphere, you can come in as a senior at any age.
What kind of a time commitment are you looking at?
There is no time commitment. You join, and your membership is on a 12-month basis, and there are dues that you pay to the squadron and to the national, and then there are could be some uniform costs, but generally the Air Force provides uniforms that we utilize through their clothing surplus areas where they've surveyed them back.
Mm-hmm.
So as a senior, all you have to do is want to help the community, be a volunteer, and we hold our meetings the 2nd and 4th Thursdays of every month at what we call the Quonset Hut out at Love Field. And the meetings start at 7 o'clock, and anybody that wants to come out and find out more about it, they're more than welcome. And
excellent. Well, David, we've talked about the search and rescue aspects of the CAP, the cadet training program. There's also a third aspect of Civil Air Patrol, and that's the aerospace education. And you being a student at Embry-Riddle, I'm sure that you've been able to tap into that somewhat. Let's talk a little bit about aerospace education through the Civil Air Patrol.
Civil Air Patrol, when we were formed, we were also charged with bringing developments in the aerospace community to society. And currently, Civil Air Patrol has aerospace education programs going on at various high schools and colleges throughout the nation. And we also have a training program for our own members. The cadets are brought through a series of chapters in an aerospace education book in which they learn about the history of flight and how aircraft fly, weather, navigation, and then some of the developments in the spacecraft and the way that our country has come through the development of the space age. And we usually also have a program for our senior members that is offered where our senior members can go through a series of books and actually study similar material as the cadets, but in more detail.
So it sounds like you've got all your bases covered for both the young, middle-aged, those that are retired and have some time on their hands to give to an agency like this. Sounds like a marvelous organization. How many active people just in our local area here?
On the current roster, we have 40 adults and 16 cadets.
Is that about average for a community our size?
I would say.
Yes, it is, and we're always happy to have more. Though we're not filled up. We can always, if anybody's interested, we'd, enjoy speaking with them if they'd like, and they can come and visit our meetings.
It's the 2nd and 4th Thursday
of the month at 7 p.m.
at the Love Field Quonset Hut.
Yes, it's.
Now, whereabouts is that located?
When you turn off of the highway to go into the airport, take the first left turn, and then we're the first Quonset Hut on the left. And our cadets meet on Tuesday evenings, and they meet every Tuesday evening at 6:30 p.m. So if a cadet or a person would be interested in the cadet program, they would go on Tuesday evenings, and if a person was interested in the senior program, they could go on every other Thursday. If a person is interested in either program, for example, if a cadet is interested, their parents are more than welcome to come and also find out what the program is all about.
The Civil Air Patrol, great organization. Glad you were a part of our show today to learn more about it, as I was as well. We'll be back with some final thoughts in just a minute.
Ever been snowmobiling? Mormon Lake Lodge offers guided touring, exciting and safe for your whole family. And you'll love our cross-country skiing. Through the pines or around the lake, it's right out our door. Warm up in one of Arizona's truly authentic steakhouses and saloons. Mormon Lake Lodge, featuring cowboy steaks, charcoal broiled over mountain oak. Or snuggle up by the fireplace in a cabin in the pines. Mormon Lake Lodge. Call ahead for snow conditions and reservations. Available now at Outdoor Sports, now in Prescott Valley and Lake Powell.
Put yourself in our shoes at the Shoebox Shoe Store, featuring the finest footwear available at the lowest possible prices. Quality name brands for all: Reebok, Keds, Nunn Bush, Hush Puppy, Soft Spot, Buster Brown, Dexter, and LA Gear, to name a few. The family shoe store with 30 years of experience, offering the best quality with full service at reasonable prices. Visit the Shoebox today in their new location at the Safeway Shopping Center in Prescott Valley.
Now, Channel 7 delivers the news you need and when you want it, 4 times every weekday. CNN Headline News, award-winning, live, up-to-the-minute news, business, sports, and entertainment. Begin your day at 6 a.m. with Headline News, all the events that occurred while you were asleep. Then at midday, Headline News comes to you at 11:30 a.m. In the evening, we'll deliver more CNN, early and late, at 6:30 and then again at 9. CNN Headline News at 6 and 11:30 a.m., 6:30 and 9 p.m., right here on Channel 7. David and Marshall, thank you for enlightening us on the Civil Air Patrol. Good luck to you in this new upcoming year. Merry Christmas to you. Tomorrow, Christmas Eve, a special Northern Arizona scene from the Del Rio School. Join us, won't you? Until then, I'm Rich Howe. Thanks for joining us.